It has been a very long wait, but it's finally here. The ZOWIE EC Wireless. This is hands down the most anticipated gaming mouse ever. The G703 Superlight is a close second. And this is the make or break for ZOWIE, a brand that has dominated the esports scene in various games for years, with some professional events having up to 70% of players using one of their mice. But as a result of the tough competition, they've fallen sharply out of favour amongst competitive gamers. Is a wireless version of the legendary EC series what ZOWIE needs right now? Or have they just taken too long and everybody is bored? In this review I'll see what changes have been made to the EC wireless series, or if it is just a case that they've cut off the cable. Oh yeah, when this mouse was announced it received a lot of backlash, which I will address in this video. First, for those that aren't boomers or are unfamiliar with the fluctuating market share of gaming mice over the past 10 to 15 years, what exactly brought ZOWIE to the top in the first place? ZOWIE rose to popularity for a few reasons. One, at the time they offered some interesting shapes that weren't available anywhere else, and still do. Two, with those shapes they made them available in different sizes, which you still don't get that often today unless it's a mini version. And three, they popularized plug and play, which was amazing during the rise of ZOWIE, as some of the software back then was absolutely awful. With ZOWIE no longer dominating the competitive gaming scene, you might wonder how they managed to lose so much popularity so quickly. A key issue for ZOWIE over the years, and here's some extra evidence, they've always been late with adopting what is considered to be essential features for gaming mice. Things like paracord cables, better mouse feet, switches, higher quality scroll wheels, better coating, and obviously the big one, wireless. And when the competition provides what people have been asking for, there is just no surprise that people will swap. But here it is, the EC-CW, or in my case, the EC3-CW. This is the smallest of the three available. Not what I would have wanted, but trying to get one of these in stock of any size was a pain. There are no nasty surprises with the wireless versions. The shape is the exact same, but there is one nasty surprise which I will get to very shortly. But first, let's focus on the changes. It's wireless. For the other internals, it's pretty much the same. It is still using the same sensor as the older versions, so a 3370. That isn't a huge downside, but it is when you take into account the price. But for the price, you do get a dock, which has raised some eyebrows. Docks aren't normally a big selling point for the more competitive focused gamers, so for this to feature one is strange. This dock serves a purpose outside of just charging. ZOWIE says this provides enhanced wireless stability, and honestly that seems to be it. Partnered with this is an antenna that is located on the top left of the mouse for the stable connection. Now, I've never experienced any sort of wireless interference in all my years of playing. And I've played at LAN events with hundreds of other people there, and my wireless mice have never had a problem. I mean, if you've had problems with wireless interference, let me know in the comments. I'd be glad to hear from you. The other dock feature is that you can just plop your mouse on it and charge it. Now, this is a big dock, so if you don't want to use the dock because it intimidates you, or there's no room on your desk, you have the standard dongle. You can swap between these two connections on the underside of the mouse using this little switch here. There's also a battery indicator if you flip the mouse back over, and the lights show up in the gap of the shell here. Discreet but easy to use and see. Now, when this mouse was announced, it received a lot of backlash for one reason, and that was the price. Because this costs $150. Considering that you're getting an outdated sensor by today's standards, the same shape, and essentially it is just wireless, you can kind of see why people will be annoyed, because there aren't that many improvements here. And for me, there is an extra bit of annoyance for one other reason: the scroll wheel. ZOWIE has always had absolutely garbage tier scroll wheels. Allow me to demonstrate. The scroll wheel is really grindy on this, and it's also, again, quite loud. The click is dreadful and mushy, which makes it a pain to use constantly. It's quite frankly one of the worst scroll wheels I've ever used. and yet it has somehow made its way into a $150 wireless mouse. It's just not good enough. So this mouse has created a conundrum for me for several reasons. If I take the mouse at face value, it's great, apart from the scroll wheel obviously. But everything else around the mouse feels fantastic. I mean, it's a ZOWIE mouse. The shape is going to be incredible for starters, and shape is king. It's the most important part of a gaming mouse. The quality with the rest of the mouse is fantastic. I guess the mouse not coming with 100% virgin grade, GigaChad, PTFE, heat treated, laser cut, rounded feet can be considered a downside for some, but honestly I have had no problems with these either. There is of course the weight issue, as weak 15-year-olds that demand a mini version of every mouse as soon as it's released will find that these weighing between 75 to 80 grams a bit too heavy, but personally I think the weight of it is fine. I've used it on my glass Razer Atlas pad and it really makes the weight feel less noticeable. I didn't think it was too heavy or difficult to move around, and this is coming from someone that mains a Death Adder V3 Pro, but I probably don't struggle with it because I use my right arm for more things other than that. When using it in game, it has been a very nice experience. I do wish the EC2 or EC1 was in stock though, as it would be more comfortable, as the EC3 is just too small for me personally. The inclusion of the dock has made charging even easier than ever, although to be honest, just plugging in a USB Type-C cable into a mouse isn't exactly an issue for me at all. On the other hand, it's $150, and the dock, even though it's great for charging, I feel is pretty much pointless, especially as I don't think many people will really experience the benefits of this enhanced receiver. I've also tried the standard dongle that comes with this, plugged a couple of other wireless mice in it as well, and there was no interference. So I'd imagine that for a lot of people this dock is not really needed. I really think that what ZOWIE need to do is make a dock-free version of this mouse that's cheaper. And there is one key reason behind that, and that is Vaxi. Vaxi, who are a spiritual successor to ZOWIE, who features some of the original founders of ZOWIE, have the XE Wireless, which is a $120 wireless mouse, which features a better sensor than this one. And not only that, the wireless performance of that mouse is supposedly really impressive. And it kind of makes the EC3-CW seem a bit worse. And not only that, when Vaxi get around to bringing out wireless versions of their other mice, which have also been very well received, I really think it's just going to look even worse for ZOWIE going forward. So for the current price, I cannot recommend this mouse. Value for money is really important to me personally, especially when it comes to reviewing and recommending gaming mice. And to me, this mouse just has none of it. I think they really gambled with people seeing the benefits of this dock, and I just don't see it. If you're wanting a mouse that has great value for money though, there's a video on screen now that you should watch.